it up, man, but we're going to have the run back, and it looks like WaDi's going to be starting Rob this time instead of entertaining the Mewtwo pick at all.
Yeah, he wants to just cut right to the chase. He wants to at least lock down as much as he can on the projectile game that John is presenting, and having a set under his belt, trying to figure this out. Let's see if he's able to get his revenge.
And speaking of chases, this is definitely the theme of the set. It's going to be WaDi chasing down John Numbers as he retreats to the edge, as he plays around with the gyro. Oh, I don't know if up smash was what he actually went for. He might have gone for up tilt, but hey, who knows? He might have just wanted that raw damage.
And raw damage can go a long way in this, especially out of a smash attack, because if both of these players just play their projectile game and go for little hits here and there, WaDi's going to be coming out the worst end of it, because that tiny percentage lead gets eaten up just like that because of deep breathing, because of the sun salutation. So a lead by just numbers isn't going to be going that far against John Numbers.
Ironically so.
I didn't even intend it.
I know. Now it looks like WaDi is really getting the better of these early exchanges. He seems to have caught on to this matchup. I'd say if we're talking purely in terms of experience, also that was disgusting. That was super
That
cool.
looked wild.
If we're talking in terms of matchup experience, though, there's obviously a heavy advantage on the part of John Numbers. There's no Wii Fit in the world that really can, well, maybe not in the world, but at least in the East Coast, that can put up results like this guy can. So maybe he doesn't fight against a Rob every single week, but he's definitely played this matchup more than WaDi has.
And even at that, for anyone who has an understanding of the Wii Fit matchup, you would have to play against John Numbers specifically just to understand what is being brought to the table, because there's so many unorthodox approaches to this character's kit.
It's very true.
It's so unique behind John, and that unfamiliarity, I feel, goes a long way.
Yeah, I really don't see other Wii Fit trainers planking, to be very blunt about it. So, I don't know. He knows that he can't do that exactly right now. He has to make up a stock first. Maybe he could retreat to the edge a little bit just to entice WaDi to come toward him, but I feel like WaDi would just hang back and charge up his projectiles. Of course, charging the laser by just doing nothing.
And just keeping gyro pressure on top of John Numbers, forcing him into sort of a Cold War of projectile pressure right now between the deep breathing, the header, just matching wits with gyro and laser. There's really not much going on as far as what's being pressed, but as far as the stage control goes, it's a constant effort from WaDi to keep John Numbers from getting any type of advantage, because one little opening is all John needs, and all of a sudden a stock is dropped and the percentages just aren't wide enough for WaDi to feel comfortable with that right now.
Oh, that backward hit of forward tilt, not safe on block, but I don't know. I feel like WaDi could have done more about that. Either way, it's going to be chasing Numbers to the edge once again. And Numbers in no rush to get off. Wow, that actually killed.
All right, and that was looking like all right DI too. I figured, 137 with a little bit of rage behind John, it's understandable enough. However, John is sitting in that percentage area where rage is starting to calculate in. The lead is building up further and further for WaDi.
And John Numbers, a little bit ambiguous with his timing to grab the edge. He has to be exactly that to get away from WaDi's down air. And now WaDi has to stay extremely patient, because a couple slip-ups, especially with those neutral air into header combos, and we could see John Numbers reclaiming the lead, and that's really not something he's trying to give him.
WaDi has 2.5 minutes and counting on the clock. He has opportunities to just wait out John, and right now it's him who's winning the waiting game.
I feel like he's being still pretty proactive too. Of course, if left alone, Wii Fit Trainer can heal. I don't think we'll ever see her heal 100%, but still, wow. Just sensing the fear in John Numbers.
That was quite the read.
He knew John didn't want to get grabbed, so what do? Charge something out to beat the spot dodge. John Numbers' face is killing me, man.
This man's so reactive to everything. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not so happy.
Oh no, we say he's animated, but don't think things are always friendly from John. Either way, we're seeing the run back to Town and City. John feeling like he could play this out the way the match is at hand. WaDi had some pretty impressive reads and a lot of aerial pressure throughout that game one, so I'm feeling that through recognizing that, John might be able to negate those issues and try to bring things more into his style of play.
Yeah, basically whoever claims the first significant lead, I think, is going to pull ahead in this set. That appears to be John Numbers right now, so WaDi's going to have to go deep to try to find some hits, and it's just going to keep getting him into more trouble as John Numbers gets these crunchy nair combos.
John now just opting to play the ledge game where he can. However, I feel that even with a significant percentage lead, as we're seeing right now, John can't really wait back just yet, because at any point, WaDi could open up with an explosive combo of his own right, and all of a sudden, a lot of that kill power behind Rob becomes a lot more of a threat. I feel like Numbers just has to keep on pressing this advantage, at least until he has a stock lead. Then he could sit back comfortably, but for now, he's got to try and force WaDi into these unorthodox landings, going from one platform max distance to the other.
I feel like Rob's combos are really not that devastating. That's pretty much all he's going to get is down throw to up air, maybe up tilt to up air or fair. It's definitely a stick and move kind of character.
He's sort of like a mobile fortress in a way.
For sure.
A lot of it is just defending the exact position he's in and having little bits to move where he needs to be. But right now he's moving real quick into the blast zone as John manages to get that stock lead finally.
Yeah, moving west. And as John Numbers takes the first stock, I think we're going to see things tip pretty significantly into his favor. Maybe not, though, because he did not DI the up air correctly, and he's going to tie way before his time. WaDi already able to even this one up. I kind of counted him out. I'm not going to lie. I was like, oh, man, John got the first stock with like 61% or something. You're toast. But no.
And WaDi's looking to not drop this lead that he's got as far as the set goes. He's pushing this advantage incredibly, having already built up 32% onto John and really forcing him deeper and deeper off the ledge that he so desperately wants to sit on.
And that neutral air, having a hitbox behind Rob, is essential for WaDi to keep John Numbers out. He's gone for so many roll-ins just to see how WaDi's going to react, but if you blow that up with neutral air, it's going to limit a lot of his offensive capability, and it's what John needs right now. Oh, another snipe! But yeah, John needs to finally get offensive here because he's down by a significant amount. It's not within range of realistically healing. Oh, here it goes. So much off of that. That was so much. Yeah, you got one into the ground and then two on your way up. Oh, dude, and it does 14 fresh, so I mean, that's basically 40 damage.
And look at this. The percentage already having been caught up, and with John in the lead, not by much, mind you, but with a little bit of proper DI from that up air now, John looking like he still very well could take this game too.
And WaDi going for some aggressive gambits here, but with the assistance of his projectiles, so he doesn't have to put himself really at risk. John Numbers doing such a good job of avoiding everything. And, oh man, this is just so exciting in such a weird way, right? Because they're not scrapping it out and going for like these 30-hit combos or anything, but they're definitely doing some impressive stuff.
Yeah, when you're watching a game like this, people typically want to see a slobber knocker. They want to see fists being thrown constantly, constant aggression, characters on top of each other. But when you're looking at a zoning game like this, where characters are pressuring from afar, and the little pushes of stage control are really what matter, the match like this for the long haul can get very exciting because every little instance counts. And
oh, no way! What just happened?
John, please.
That was so cool, though, to throw the Sun Salutation underneath to discourage WaDi from just flying up to the other side. But he was so smart by just dipping underneath it, using the back air to propel him forward so he didn't run out of gas. And, in fact, John Numbers ran out of gas, unable to recover, and WaDi's going to claim a 2-0 lead here in this run back between them in Losers Finals.
That was fantastic fuel management out of WaDi. He had to move from one end of the screen to the other from below, all the while avoiding that pressure from John. He still had enough to get to that ledge, by the way. John may have dropped off, but WaDi was ready for more action. And he's got to continue that as we're moving on back to Town and City. Game 3. WaDi looking to clean this up really quickly.
This is such a silly game. So many nutty things happen. So many things to account for as well.
All of these little features just go so far, especially in a matchup like this. But what can you do?
All right. In this third game, WaDi is looking to close it out, but I don't think we'll see him lose patience. He's already sat through 5 games with John Numbers before this, so I think he's ready. He knows what's par for the course. Oh, that was terrible DI by John Numbers. Almost an early tragedy. But that laser's definitely not safe point blank. John Numbers gonna go for the spike. These guys are literally just camping as much as possible and then trying to spike each other.
It's so funny because they go from such an incredibly passive defensive style of play, utilizing all their tools to just keep their opponent so far from them and in such a state of peril from constantly worrying about juggling, to just all-out aggression and just trying to dig up the graves as deep as they can.
Yeah, some very hawkish edge guards for sure. John Numbers consistently going for this roll in to read what you're going to do after he rolls behind you game. For WaDi, it's been roll in the opposite direction, which I feel like is a pretty common player habit. And John Numbers has been all over it. So maybe WaDi, when he's watching the VODs, is going to be like, oh yeah, maybe I should just jump and hit him, but then I could get spiked by the back of Wii Fit's foot.
Yeah, you got to watch out for that. A lot of people tend to forget that there's a lot of unorthodox spike hitboxes. A lot of people remember the header, of course, and down air, which is incredibly potent in its own right. But that backwards hitbox of the forward air provides a lot of coverage, especially if you're not paying too much attention at the ledge.
John Numbers here with the first stock. If my estimations are correct, and WaDi doesn't get a quick kill on him, I would say he's poised to take this game 3 here. Though, as we've seen, literally anything can happen. Like I feel like I'm never safe making any predictions in Smash 4. Oh, not gonna kill him. He could have gone for the down throw, but I also don't think it would have comboed to up air. So WaDi maybe just looking for the raw damage straight up. Oh, and
the ball's interaction, a saving grace for John. Sitting at 142% in counting, that down smash would have killed. That would have been I think that would have been a done yoga instructor.
I mean, she's comfortably mid-weight, so I don't know. I could see it going either way. I know it's not exactly the strongest down smash in the game, but it's not weak either. WaDi gonna have to get this one done somehow.
That's gonna do it.
Okay.
That'll do it.
Yeah, catching John just playing at the edge a little bit too much. He felt too safe in an unsafe spot. That's really the risk that comes with playing like John Numbers. You might think, oh, he camps so hard, he's so safe all the time, how do I hit him? But he's just a couple hits away from getting spiked and dying at literally like any percent, you know, as long as the spike is strong enough to actually prevent him from recovering or outright kill him.
Nearly every member of the cast of Smash for Wii U has some way of taking advantage of such a style of play, and the game has based itself around presenting being at the ledge and offstage so much as a dangerous situation. John figures out a way to make a blessing out of this curse, and this is the 3rd time now that we've seen John try to hunt WaDi down with projectiles.
Yeah.
Now, it didn't result in John's death like we'd previously seen, but nonetheless, nothing's really working out for him. He should catch on that WaDi has such a strong understanding of how to maneuver Rob through such a precarious place.
And he's just using the gyro as a wall of sorts at the edge to make sure WaDi can't get back on the stage, and also that he can't respawn the gyro and use it for himself. This is looking very bad for WaDi, and yeah, okay, it's not even just bad.
It's looking a game down now.
Yeah.
So John saving himself the struggles of a 3-0, and he's slowly but surely bringing things back on WaDi. If he can continue to bring this momentum back to his side, Game 5 could very well swing in John's favor, and we could see the rematch against DeBuzz.
Yeah, he's real hungry for that run back. You can sense it. Just the sheer commitment to this defensive playstyle is like, man, I'm not going anywhere. I am staying on the sticks. I'm waiting for DeBuzz to come back, and then I'm going to give him another run for his money. However, DeBuzz has shown, you know, some pretty strong prowess in dealing with John. Maybe it would be interesting to see WaDi have a crack at him, though I know they have also played recently Smash Delphia, as well as I believe last night's local. And I haven't heard any crazy news of the upset, so I'm just going to make the safe assumption that DeBuzz has not dropped any sets to him.
Not yet.
But yeah, either way, they're not focused on DeBuzz quite yet, as they still have to go through each other. Right now, that's WaDi's advantage, but what does John have to say about this recovery? Rob is wide open when he comes back to the stage. He just has to cover himself with the aerials, but that doesn't do all that much.
And while WaDi does have an excellent sense of spacing with the Nair from Rob, it has a considerable amount of startup, and it's a very dramatic animation, too.
Yeah, it's so telegraphed. And you already know that he's looking to throw it out 99% of the time on his way down, or at least the average Rob player is. Of course, WaDi is not that.
One thing to note out of this particular match, out of the set, look at the clock right now in relation to these percentages. Both of these players playing a lot more actively in their projectile pressure, and it really goes to show that the pressure's on for both of them right now, as John manages to take a considerable lead, only 87%, and with 4 minutes in counting on the clock, this is looking kind of devastating compared to the past games that we've seen. John looking a lot more open, and WaDi kind of getting exposed in areas that we had not seen throughout this set, or even the evening.
Yeah, this is looking like a lot more normal pacing compared to the previous John Numbers versus WaDi games. But I guess it's only natural that things are going to heat up and they're going to lose some degree of patience with each other. I'm sure, you know, now what, 8.5 games into their interactions with each other, it's got to take some kind of a toll on them mentally to keep playing this way. Maybe not Numbers, because he does this for a living.
Yeah, but you do bring up a good point in that playing so patiently with this much pressure on you, with so much riding on the line, it's got to be exhausting. Physically, mentally, these players are just brought to the wire.
Just gonna heal off the stage, keep it solid. John's still looking pretty good here. He's like 40% up. And shrinking though, as WaDi is building himself back here. It was looking kind of one-sided, but wow, even with the header assist, WaDi has put himself all the way back in this. He's just, yeah, I was gonna say, he's like a grab or a projectile away from evening it up.
But as we've mentioned before, tiny percentage leads like this matter not against John Numbers. He's constantly healing it and constantly building it, but WaDi looking, he's searching for it. He wants that kill off the top. He wants to put out some sort of pressure, break John right now, or else we're going into a game 5.
He just wants the sweet catharsis of getting this set over with. He's like, man, this is taking so much of my time and energy. I need to get done with it. But that is everybody's downfall against John Numbers. The second you get impatient is the second he takes advantage fully and just closes you out. So I don't know. This could still go either way for sure. WaDi just going to charge up that gyro, and John Numbers pretty much at kill percent, but oh wow, okay.
You say it,
yeah,
and down it happens.
Yeah, well,
WaDi winning 3-1 over John Numbers with a very impressive down smash, and just like that, New York is down to 1 land.